I call this meeting of the Lakota Board of Education, Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, to order. Mr. Zink, please call the roll.
Mr. D.
Here.
Ms. Bodie. Ms. Casper.
Here.
Ms. Schaefer.
Here.
Ms. O'Connor.
Here. Board, I'm seeking a motion for the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. D. Please call the roll, Mr. Zink.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes.
Mr. D. Ms.
Yes.
Casper.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes. Board, I'm seeking a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, and a conference with legal counsel concerning disputes that are the subject of pending or imminent court action per Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G3. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. D. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Casper. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes. Board will adjourn to the other room.
I would love one.
Please.
You can carry that many.
I'm going to pull us out of executive session, and I'm going to take us into recess. We will meet again in a regular board meeting and come out of recess at 6:30.
Maybe. Test.
Hey, cutie. Hey, Monica, how are you?
Want some pizza?
Hey.
Pizza with breadsticks?
Did you lose one?
What's this?
There's one.
A child.
No, he's right here.
I didn't even see him.
Yeah.
So-
6:30. 6:30.
Oh, that's right, that's right. That's right. That's right, I totally forgot. Yeah, we've already done that.
The gentleman from in the children's hospital vest.
I'm sorry.
Do you know the gentleman in the children's hospital vest?
Oh,
No.
okay. Yeah.
Linda might be.
I'm Melissa. Usually Melissa when I go over, I can.
Over there, where?
I got you.
At the end of the opposite end of Julio Callahan.
Opposite of the
I can't see his face.
I know it's hard to see from here without the lights on over there.
All right, folks, we're going to get started.
I got you.
Thank you. The board met earlier in executive session and then went into recess, so I'm going to reconvene us from recess.
Mrs. O'Connor,
Mrs. Casper, the chair recognizes you.
I would like to make a motion that we amend the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion to amend the agenda. Dr. Lawley, you had some further information?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I'd like to amend the agenda by moving the item E under number 4, to after the school spotlight, number 5. And I'd also like to add a vote on a program of studies under superintendent recommendations. I'd like to add that as item B. Mr. Wheatley will be doing a presentation on the program of studies that you received last week. He'll be doing that presentation during my superintendent comments, but then I would like for you to also approve that tonight so we can get scheduling started for students.
So the motion is to amend the agenda to move 4E to after 5, and also to place program of studies under 8 superintendent recommendations, and we'll make that F. Any questions, board?
I know that we all received the program of studies, but if we could add it to the agenda after the fact, so if anyone wants to reference it, they can access it.
Anything further? Please call the roll.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes. Thank you, board. Mr. D, would you lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
I'll defer board president comments for the moment. We'll move to superintendent comments. Dr. Lawley?
Thank you. I have quite a bit to comment on tonight, and the first, I'm going to ask Andrew Wheatley, our Director of Secondary Curriculum, to come forward and give us a brief overview of the program of studies that we are proposing to be passed by the board.
Thank you, and good evening. So everybody received the copy of the program of study and an update earlier this week. So I'll try to keep this brief and just kind of highlights. I think it's between me and students coming up next, so I'll try to be brief and make sure we cover what we need to. So we're really excited about the opportunities that we're providing in the program of study for students. The focus and the changes this year is really to increase opportunities for students, provide them more course opportunities and to make some adjustments related to our programming. The other big piece that we're looking to do is some of the changes relate to improving our data related to the state report card, specifically the CCWM, which is the College Career and Workforce Military Readiness Indicator. Some of the things that we're changing specifically are adding some CCP courses that will directly affect that. But let me just kind of run down the board presentation changes that you received. We're making some changes to the matrix for advanced students and getting into those courses. Just real briefly, that's just to make sure that the right students are getting into the courses that we need to and make sure that the alignment is there. In the junior high, we are adding a new Butler Tech semester course that is Flight and Space, and then we're also adding a next-gen stats math class that we believe will be a fun class for students to take, but also help us with students' math skills and scores. Specifically in the high school, as I stated before, we're adding 6 new CCP courses. Majority of those courses are in the social studies department, as we're adding psychology, sociology, and political science, which will count for the government grad requirement, and having those be CCP courses. We're also adding a junior and senior level artificial intelligence course that'll really be around ethics, law, economic implications of artificial intelligence to make sure that students are prepared for the future as that impacts careers in the workforce. In mathematics, we are adding a financial algebra semester course and a CCP statistics course to our math courses, making a small change in environmental science in our science department, and then we're also adding a CCP financial lit course to for students because that is now a requirement. Well, it's been a requirement for a couple years now, so that way students can get college credit for their financial lit requirement. We're adding a freshman level cybersecurity intro course. So, we've had a really successful program, and we also have a need for some semester level courses at the freshman building. So we thought that was an opportunity to provide both a course that'll be interesting and engaging for students, but also meet some of the needs for adding semester courses. In our art department, we are adding 2 new AP courses, so we're really excited to be able to expand our AP offerings, but especially in the arts. So we're going to be adding 2D art and design and AP art history to our art program. We've also been working with Butler Tech to continue to make adjustments so that those courses that Butler Tech offer are attractive to all of our students. So some of the higher level Butler Tech courses, we're adding honors weight to those. Students of those courses have been doing rigorous and high level work, so we wanted to make sure that the honors weight was added to those classes so that they received the appropriate weighting for their grades that they were getting. So I'll just open it up to some questions from everyone, but those are kind of the high level highlights from the changes of the program of study, but want to make sure I provide that opportunity to everyone.
Any questions, board?
I know after I'd gotten it, Andrew and I talked about this, but I think it'd be helpful to share a couple things that the health class is changing a bit and no longer will be offered in the junior high for high school credit. And if you could share the reasons for that with me, as well as the change in the social studies classes and how they previously worked and will work going forward for the core requirements.
Yeah, so that change to add some of the high school credit to junior high goes way back to 2008 through 2011, in which a lot of cuts were made. Specifically cuts from going down from an 8-bell day to a 6-bell day at the high schools. Since then, we have gone back up to a 7-bell day at the high schools. There's not quite the need for receiving the high school credit to junior high in order to meet all your credits at the high school level. Not only that, but since that, that's been, depending on if you 2008 or 2011, we're talking about 13, 14, 15 years ago. A lot has changed in the way students are able to get access and get credit. So between CCP being the biggest one, where students are able to get additional credits also in summer school. So we really don't have a challenge with students getting enough credits or opening up their day to be able to take the courses they want. The other piece to that is specifically with health. We just wanted to make sure that students were receiving health education at the level that was most appropriate, and also to help with some of the mandates that are coming down from the state related to things like CPR has to be in grades 9 through 12, and that's usually done during health and things like that. Just make it a little bit easier for us to be able to make sure we're meeting the expectations from the state and also grade level appropriate health education. We're not getting rid of health classes at the junior high level. It's just no longer the high school credit because we want to make sure that students are also taking that when they're a little bit older. Then related to social studies, part of the change that we wanted to make is we wanted to remove the compacted curriculum that happens in 7th grade. So the current advanced 7th grade course is a compacted course. They're receiving the 8th grade curriculum and the 7th grade curriculum the same year. What ends up essentially happening is that ends up being a mile wide and an inch deep. And we know that when it comes to rigor and engagement in the material, that we want to make sure that they have the depth of understanding in that 7th grade curriculum, and then they would have that same depth of understanding in U.S. history. It also has the added benefit of the fact that they then would take their, their freshman year world history high school credit. Instead of taking it 8th grade, they'll take it in 9th grade. And then we can make an actual honors world history course, or have students take AP Human Geo, which you can count for world history. The benefit of that is, so instead of students just getting a regular level world studies course as an 8th grader, they now will then have a more rigorous course. Specifically, a lot of students then be able to take an AP course their freshman year, which will have an added advantage to their GPA, but also I think they'll have just a high level course on their transcript, as they're trying to eventually look at colleges and those things. So we think that it's both more appropriate, students will get more out of it, and that there's generally added benefits, and then we have a whole lot of ways to pick up that lost credit that students will be able to get. So long answer to that, but it goes way back.
And then credit flex for seniors?
Yeah, so credit flex for seniors right now, so students, we do have a lot of students who are taking 3 or 4 or 5 bells of credit flex. We think that's, being in school for at least 5 bells is really important for developing students. We also know that that's important for admissions. When students come around to trying to get it accepted to college, colleges want to see a full schedule. We also know that our East to West are great places, and so we want to make sure our students are there and taking a lot of the great courses like I talked about before. So we're making some changes to credit flex, expecting kids to take 5 courses their senior year. We think that's just ultimately better for students. We have stated that students who need accommodations to that can fill out an application with the building, and then that'll be evaluated based on administrative approval.
Any other questions?
Just on the junior high program of studies, I know we've talked before about more electives at the junior high level, and it looks like we've added some.
Yeah, we're adding 2 for next year.
Yeah, 2 for next year. I know we talk about this often, but is there any discussion around perhaps offering foreign language in the junior high?
Yeah, that's a conversation that we're continuing to have. What we're looking at right now is really spending time this year and then moving into next year, taking a look at our junior high, both the schedule that will potentially allow for us to have more electives, and then what electives that we want to have offered. And so that is something that is on our radar and something we're looking at very seriously, but have not made any decisions on at this point.
This year? Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
For me, I just want to thank you for the update. It is necessary that we make adjustments and restructure whatever we need to do. So the update is very, very necessary. And thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wheatley.
All right. Have a good evening.
Dr. Lawley?
To continue with my administrative update, I wanted to let the board know that Lauren Webb and Wyatt Hayden have been working on a plan in response to the Gifted Community meeting. We're planning to introduce a new structure for serving gifted students for the 24-25 school year. And I know that 3 board members who were at the community engagement meeting, Ms. O'Connor, Ms. Casper, and Ms. Schaefer, heard that parents were concerned about the amount of time and the type of services. We will be working to staff a partial pull-out program for those students identified as superior COG and math and language arts, and then as a partial push-in program. So some sort of mixture of timing will be occurring. As we continue to plan, I'll share more, but I wanted you to know that changes are coming in that program, and we'll finalize that probably in mid-January and roll that out to the public. Additionally, we're continuing to work on providing music, art, and physical education in each elementary school. The scheduling and staffing are still being worked on, but it's something that can be expected to be finalized again in January so that we can implement in the fall. And then professional development on instructional practices is being provided by the innovation specialists in the district. The focus for November and December has been on gradual release, which is a best instructional strategy, where a teacher models the standard being taught and then has the students practice the standard while the teacher monitors to see who understands and who may need more support. And then once the teacher sees the majority of students understand, then the student is expected to work independently, which is where the personalized learning is developed. So we're continuing to work on that. And then I have some good news about our 3rd grade reading scores. Our 3rd grade reading proficiency score, we were able to improve that, and and achieve an 8.8% increase in students who passed that from last year, this time last year. And then also on the improving K-3 literacy score, we went from, we saw a 10.3% increase from last year, and several buildings, Endeavor, Freedom, and Independence, increased over 20% in their number of students who passed. The performance index for the third grade reading also improved from a 77.8 last year to an 83.4. And if you recall, the performance index, or the number of students who moved from being basic and limited into proficient, accelerated, and advanced. So we saw an increase there as well. So I want to congratulate those third grade teachers across the district who worked so hard to make sure that students were prepared and ready and reading, and also the kindergarten, first, and second grade teachers, because they start the process. And then two last announcements. Lakota East Spark earned its 17th National Scholastic Press Association Pacemaker Award. Spark is one of 24 newspapers and news magazines to receive this award, only 24 across the nation. So they won their 17th year in a row. And then lastly, Jeff Zhu, a Lakota East senior and Cyber 3 student, was one of 6 students nationwide selected to participate in the National Cyber Signing Day at the NICE K-12 Cybersecurity Education Conference for his achievements, including being a National Cyber Scholar, an Information Security Intern at Procter & Gamble, and his work on the Inter-Alliance Executive Board. So congratulations to Jeff. And that concludes my report for now. Thank you.
Did you also want to mention something about music and art and PE for elementary?
I did.
Okay.
That we're having music, art, and PE. We're working to put those in elementary schools. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
I think, again, at some point, we'll talk about that more, that we do have art, music, and gym in our elementaries before. This would be working on expanding the offerings, just to clarify that.
Correct. We have music, art, and physical education, and 3 other specials right now in the schools. And what that means is that for 2 quarters, students have art, and for 2 quarters they have music, or 2 quarters they have physical education each year. And what we would like to do is make sure that they have those opportunities all 4 quarters, while not getting rid of the other things that we also think are important that are in the super specials right now.
Thank you. Mr. Zink, treasurer's comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that we will be having a tax budget hearing. This is something that we have to do yearly. I'm anticipating this will be on Monday, January 8th at 3:30 at Central Office. So notice will be coming out on that shortly. That's all I have.
Thank you. Board will move to school spotlight number 5. I think we have 4 schools being recognized tonight. Mrs. Fuller?
Good evening. Yes. We're going to begin tonight's spotlight right here at Lakota East Freshmen. The school's Hope Squad, advised by Amy Mahaffey and Chad Thompson, teamed up with main campus Hope Squad to create the video you see on the screen. The video, which can be found on our YouTube channel or via the QR code on the screen, shares the message that no student is alone. While Mrs. Mahaffey filmed this footage here, Craig Bach and his students in his content creation class, which is a new class this year, jumped in at the main campus to do both the filming and the editing. Students at both schools have watched the video during their advisory periods. Over at Ridge Junior School, student athletes are leading the way as members of FACT, the Firebird Athletic Culture Team. A representative from each sport is nominated by coaches and teachers to be a part of the group. In the students' own words, they are a pillar for their school, the athletic program, and the community. In addition to being leaders at Ridge, the group has participated in events hosted by the NFL Hall of Fame and the UC basketball program. They've presented at our district-wide Light Up Lakota event and have been a part of community outreach through Reach Out Lakota. FACT is about developing responsibility and leadership skills, which mirrors the Student Athletic Advisory Board, or SAAB, at Lakota West High School. Fifth and sixth graders in Adena Elementary School's Student Council planned a fall Candygram fundraiser to help the school. The students made posters and flyers to advertise the sale and even got to school early in order to set up for the big event. The group raised about almost $530, which will be used to buy new soccer nets and some other outdoor equipment that all of the students in the school can use during recess. It was such a success that they're now working on plans for a winter sale. And finally, we have some second grade superhero leaders from Hopewell Early Childhood School here with us tonight. They've been working together to coordinate the December Kindness Challenge at their school. Please welcome Cora, Will, Avery, Whitney, and Noah, along with their principal, Mrs. Franco, to share more with you.
Well, good evening, and thank you for having us here tonight. As we know, December is a busy time of year, but that doesn't mean that it's too busy for us to remember the real reason for the season. And so at Hopewell Early Childhood, we have our December to Remember Kindness Challenge. And so who better to lead our Kindness Challenge than our second grade superheroes? You see before you right now, these are just a few of our superheroes. But they have really led the charge across the building. Not only have they come up with some of our kindness challenges, but they have delivered stationery to classrooms, delivered some of our notes in our postal system in the building, and even taken some time to capture some pictures of kindness in action. So we thought, you don't want to hear it from me. We thought we'd bring them here tonight to share some of that with each of you.
My favorite kindness challenge is make a card for Nurse Nina.
Why did you make a card for Nurse Nina?
Because she does a lot for each of us.
Yes, she does. You had a special fact about nurses too, didn't you? Do you want to share it?
And my Mimi is a nurse too.
So that has a special meaning for you, doesn't it? Thank you for sharing that. Cora, will you share with us your favorite?
My favorite kindness challenge was make a card for our custodians.
Can you tell us more about that?
I like it because it makes me think of how it makes me like they get to feel welcome in our school community.
That's a big superpower of yours, isn't it? Making everyone feel welcome? Thank you for doing that, Cora. Will you tell us your favorite?
My favorite kindness challenge was play with a new friend at recess.
And why was that your favorite?
Because we got to meet new people.
Oh, what did you play at recess?
Football.
Football. How did that go?
Good.
Yeah? Who won?
Us.
All right, Noah, what was your favorite kindness challenge?
My favorite one was to learn a new language.
Ooh, what language did you learn?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. And what language is that?
French.
Did you say it to a new friend?
Yes.
So we learned to say hello in a new language. All right, and last but not least, what was your favorite kindness challenge?
Making a toodle.
What is a toodle?
A toodle is a little card that you can make for someone to feel welcome and happy.
And happy. So a toodle is part of PAX, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a compliment. So have you delivered your toodle yet? Not yet, so more to come? Love it. So can you give our superheroes a round of applause? They have been so instrumental really in carrying this out, not during December, but all school year long. We couldn't be more proud of them. Their group is led by our counselor, Mrs. Allie McIntosh, who couldn't be here tonight because she's at another event at Hopewell right now. But truly, it's an amazing group, and we couldn't be more proud of them. So thanks for having us here this evening.
So, Board and Dr. Lawley and Mr. Zink, any comments for our superheroes today? Dr. Lawley?
I think that the superheroes did a super job. And I can't wait to see what else that you end up doing this month and next month when you come back to school. So thank you so much for being here.
I was thinking that I need to learn more about these toodles because maybe some of my friends in my office, when they do good things, I could give them a toodle.
I'm very excited to hear all this from you all because everybody needs some kindness. And your extension of love and support to your peers is very, very necessary. Very, very proud of you, all heroes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming and sharing your stories with us. And it's not very hard to be kind, is it? It just takes a little kind gesture to make someone feel happy, right? So thank you very much for coming and talking to us tonight.
Also like to thank you. You guys did an amazing job tonight, and I'm curious if you've done any of your kindness challenges at home too. Has anyone done anything at home that they kind of an extension of what you did at school? Okay.
Moms can use toodles too. Would you all join us in the center of this stage? We're really proud of you. Okay, we can call it a night now. We'll move to recognition.
Yes, thank you. As the interim superintendent, I've not known Linda O'Connor long. I spoke with her briefly this spring about curriculum and then in July when I interviewed. In the past several months, I've witnessed a board member who is very committed to the students that Lakota serves. Mrs. O'Connor has expressed many times that education in Lakota must meet the needs of all students. Her advocacy for the gifted programs, the fine arts program, and programs serving students with special needs has been well documented over time. She's also advocated strongly for a balanced budget and fiscal accountability. The district currently is in very good financial condition due to the work of Mrs. O'Connor and the board with which she works. She's served tirelessly at the state level advocating for students and Lakota. She's been recognized numerous times by the Ohio School Boards Association for her work with various committees and legislative groups. It's rare that a district has a board member who has served for more than 1 or 2 terms. I want to personally thank Linda O'Connor for her support of the students in the Lakota local schools for the past 16 years. Her leadership and historical knowledge base will be missed. So I want to say that before I introduce some other people who have some things to say as well. We have a couple of special guests in the audience tonight that I just want to recognize and thank them for making the trip here. Sally Green is the OSBA, the Ohio School Boards Association President-elect. Ms. Green, could you stand up and be recognized? Thank you for being here. And then Ann Becker, the Westchester trustee. I saw you come in. I thought, thank you for being here. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Steve Schramm, Liberty Township trustee. He has a presentation to make. Thank you for being here, Steve.
Thank you. Unfortunately, the 15-minute speech that I had prepared was nixed, so I will make this as quick as possible. I come to you tonight wearing 3 hats. First one, I come as a representative of the State House, especially Senator George Lang. I have in front of me a proclamation I will not read because it is very long. I also come to you with a fellow trustee and former trustee, Tom Farrell and Christine Matisak, who have been great partners. You've been a great partner with us. I also come as a friend, and I'm going to sum this up quickly. You've done an amazing job. Your passion, your commitment, your energy has just been incredible. You've been an amazing partner with us, and we will sorely miss you. So thank you for everything you've done, and I'll hang on to this for you.
Thank you, Steve.
And I'd like to ask that Mark Ewing, the Southwest Regional Manager for the Ohio School Boards Association, come forward as well for a presentation.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. As I make a bunch of noise on the podium, Linda's been a very involved member of the Southwest Regional Executive Committee for many years. She's been trustee for 5 years. She's been on the executive committee. She's been a federal advocate. She's been a delegate for the OSBA platform, and she's worn many, many, many hats, and she's been a very good friend of mine. So I would like to present her. Come on. Just a little token of the appreciation from the Southwest region for her dedication to the region, to Lakota, and to OSBA. Thank you.
We have a little something for you as well. 16 years is a long time, and you have dedicated a lot of time, not, as they mentioned, not only in Lakota, but at all levels, OSBA, Southwest Region. Your commitment, your dedication over all of the years, you've been highly involved, you've been very passionate, and you have served the community for a lot longer than I think I could do it. So we just want to congratulate you. We have a little something for you from all of your board members and from Dr. Lally and Mr. Zink. It's heavy and it's breakable. Yes.
Need to open it now.
That's up to you. If you'd like to open it now, I mean, I think Isaac and Julie also have something to say, but if you'd like to open it after they're done.
Thank you.
I have a lot of things to say. So allow me to express myself because there's a lot I have in my mind. Linda O'Connor, you are a fiscal conservative. You joined the school board of Lakota at a time that your service was really, really needed. At the time that the district several times tried to balance the budget and failed several levies. They rally around placing levy and bond issues on ballot to balance the budget with repeated election failures. With your intervention, the needed adjustments, including painful budgetary cuts, rebuilding relationship with the community, led to balanced budget, which has been maintained, has been in black for 11 years with no levy on the ballot throughout the period. And there is a healthy cash reserve, which has enabled the district to weather unexpected, including cuts in state funding, inflationary increases, and the pandemic of 2020. In the last 2 years, Despite all the unprofessional, unnecessary distractions under your leadership, Linda, we were able to restore confidence in our district by one, reestablishing a business advisory committee with members drawn from many business leaders in the area to ensure that all students receive support from the real world and to be future ready when they graduate. Two, responding to the outcry in the community about critical race theory, because every concern of the community is important to you and to all the board members. And thank you to everybody. We were able to develop citizens curriculum advisory team to allow the community's voice in what is being taught in our schools and to ensure the right curriculum goes into classrooms. In responding to concern on Lodi that was being run by one individual at that time, as a board, under your leadership, we created a community diversity council with members drawn from citizens to ensure all diverse needs of our students are met and the environment is conducive for learning and teaching. At the state level, you serve as a legislative liaison, trustee, and member of the executive committee for the Ohio School Board Association, which provides services, legislative advocacy, and professional development to Ohio school districts. And I also look into your profile. At the federal level, you have been part of the Federal Relations Network / Federal Legislative Advocacy Group and advocated for students and staff, and you did it with pride. I have personally, during these 2 years, worked together and served as your vice president, have learned from you to be what? Patient, truthful, diligent, and hardworking individual in serving the community. It would be hard for me to do this job without you physically present, but I believe, as one of the books I love so much, the Bible says, in Ecclesiastes, it says, there's time for everything. This is the time that you have to move probably to something else, and who knows what you might bring back to the community. I will continue to seek your help to continue to render the service this district deserves throughout my time. I want to sincerely thank you, and I appreciate all that you've done. What I have learned from you, I believe, is what made me to be the board member that I am. And I will continue to run to you when I need help. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isaac.
So I know a quote that you've used before is the Roosevelt's quote about the arena. So it's not the critics who count, nor the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds would have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood. And, it feels like that's what happens up here occasionally, and we've all sort of been through those challenges. And I appreciate your time that you've spent in the arena, how many hours you've sacrificed time with your family in order to represent Lakota both here as well as the state level through OSBA, helping to raise Lakota's profile locally and through the state, and appreciate how many years of service you have dedicated to that cause. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Julie.
I'm going to save my comments till the end of the meeting. After all the work that I've done with Miss O'Connor, I know that she would like for me to get through the business before we talk about the other things, so I'm going to be respectful of that.
It's probably a good thing, Mr. Zink.
Mrs. O'Connor, would you like to say anything?
First of all, thank you to my friend Sally Green, who came all the way down from Tusky Valley to bring me Kleenexes. So
That's a
thank
good
you,
friend.
Sally. That's a true friend. I'm honored by this. Thank you. Board, Dr. Lawley, Mr. Zink. Thank you to the friends and the colleagues. Sorry, I was really doing okay.
Thank you to the friends and the colleagues, to my husband, who has been a rock through a lot of ups and downs on the board, as we all know. I did come onto the board at a time of tremendous challenges for the district, and I'm grateful to have made a difference for our students. I'm thankful for the chance to work with people across our community and across our state because we all value education. And it's been wonderful working with you all. I'm inspired by the dedication and commitment of so many to our students. I've learned a lot, I've worked hard. I will always be proud of our students. Thanks for the memories, as Bob Hope would say. And now we're going to get back to business, okay? The good news is I had a lot more to say, but the tears kind of stopped it, so it was short.
So,
Thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate it. All right, everybody's emotional stabilizer. Let's move to policy under board reports, please. Dr. Lawley, is Mr. Vogelman doing that?
Yes, Mr. Vogelman?
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity just to give everybody a quick update on the policies that are on the agenda for first read tonight. There are 20 policies up for first read based off of the most recent policy meeting. Appreciate Dr. Lawley filling in for me while I was out. And so just a quick overview real quick. I'll go in numerical order. 0141.2 is an Ethics Commission update language about board members who would need to refrain from voting and declare their association if organizations such as corporations, businesses, political subdivisions, or higher education institutions are up for a vote. Policy 1520 and Policy 1531 are Lakota Treasurer Team edits, helping clarify language between a 260-day and a 227-day administrative contract. Policy 2464 is also a Lakota edit, and it's needed to update our language based on our current practice of how we are using PD hours to help with the process of web writing and evaluations and not leaving it just to those who have the actual gifted licensure. This supports the efforts to help us meet the gifted indicator on our state report card. 3 of them I'll put together, 312008, 412008, and then toward the end, 8120. These are from, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Forgive me. Let's go back to 262302. This is from House Bill 33 update. Required language based on no longer being ODE, but now referred to as due. Update language on RIMPs and additional language requirements on intervention programs. You'll see this policy again next year at this time because it's part of a 3-year rollout update about third grade reading guarantee. So this is this year's update. You'll see it again next year. Then back to where I was with 312008, 412008, and 8120. These are part of House Bill 33 updates. These are new requirements for any individual seeking a PAP certification, which is a pupil activity permit, just stating that it must also include cardiac arrest training and mental health training. 5112 is a Lakota team edit. It's ensuring that students who are attempting to enroll as first graders have met the requirements of a licensed kindergarten teacher as outlined in current, I have ODE language, I guess it's due language now. 5320 is updated language from Ohio Department of Health. There's no changes in practice, just updating, clarifying language within the policy. 5337 is a new policy for all school districts based off a House Bill 33 update. There's a new requirement that you must have specific policy on the care of students with seizure disorders. This will require a 1-hour training session for staff that will be renewed every 2 years. 6231 is a Lakota team edit. This ensures that policy aligns with the practice in the Treasurer's Office when the board reviews appropriations each year. 6700 is updated language about the rights of nursing mothers that is now captured in policy and removes any limits for salaried or hourly employees that before reference just using break time. 7440 is added language that expands the scope of potential security measures that schools may have in place. It adds language that there could be potential disciplinary action for anyone, student, staff, visitors, who circumvents or disables existing security measures in place. That would be facility security measures. 8210 is a House Bill 33 update, eliminates all language and options for the term blizzard bags from the past, with an updated option to provide virtual or online education. It's not a requirement to implement, just flexibility for policy for districts if they wish to use that as an option during calamity days. 8330 is also House Bill 33 update. Cumulative records for students transferring to another district must now be forwarded within 5 school days. And the only stipulations are if a student records or has fees over $2,500. Policy 8600 and Policy 8650 are together. That's part of House Bill 33 update. Districts are now permitted to transport non-public students using vans. This language includes requirements for van drivers, passenger amounts, and routine inspections of those vehicles. 9160 is also a House Bill 33 update, requires school-affiliated events where there is admission charge to accept cash on site. And then 9270, House Bill 33 update, no longer using the term homeschool, referred to as home education, changes the requirements of home education, reduces the notification required to the school districts. Just keep in mind, parents are still required to notify the school district of residents, but it reduces what they have to send us to be exempt from compulsory school attendance, and this is a current law that took effect on October 3rd. So those are the 20 policies that are before you for first read tonight.
Are there any questions for Mr. Volkman?
I know in the listening session, there was some concern about the last paragraph in policy 7440 with students and staff and visitors intentionally circumventing or security measures and how that might apply with computers, or if you're using your phone and you take it off of Wi-Fi so that you can actually upload something that you couldn't. Do you think that we need to modify that in order to avoid that, or do you think it's okay as written?
Okay, this is dealing with facility security. So you're talking more about your security cameras, your entrances, you're propping open doors, messing around with our Raptor system, using a badge inappropriately to get it. It's the facility security. It's the physical security. It's not, we're not getting into the online aspect of the acceptable use policy. That's covered under the acceptable. This is about getting into the building or allowing others to get into the building without the proper access and authority. And so that's the focus of this policy. I think the mention during a listening session was more about acceptable use policy and how those are being used in the classroom or in the building, but this is about facility security.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to B, Business Advisory Committee. Mr. Adi, would you like to talk about that?
We had a meeting, was it on the 18th, with the Business Advisory team. Like I said in my speech, it's one of the group that was created to support and provide assistance to students from the real world and also prepare them to be future ready. We had a good session and feedback from the community, which we're still working on, I think, before we finally share what we have. We're still working more on getting more feedback. So.
Thank you. Anything to add to that?
I wanted to add that it was requested that, as Mr. Adi said, that a new survey be developed with fewer open-ended questions so that specific detail could be brought back before we actually roll anything out. And it was also requested that the BAC be able to log into the U Science program for the next meeting so they could actually see that process that our students are going through for that career development awareness. Because we're right now working with our middle schoolers to do that U Science program at this point in time, meaning the science of being you and what you're interested in and what your aptitude, what you have aptitude for. So we're going to allow them to log into that and take a look at what that looks like.
Any questions?
We will set, along with a lot of these committees, we'll set upcoming meetings at the organizational meeting in January. So we don't have any more at this time.
Thank you. Mrs. Schaefer, Butler Tech?
Here we have the newsletters. You have 2 for October and November. We have not had a Butler Tech board meeting since our last Lakota board meeting. However, I did want to mention that tomorrow we will be going to Columbus for legislative advocacy. We want to thank our legislators for allowing some flexibility with career tech for teacher licensure. If we have perhaps a professional who may come in and work in a welding lab or whatnot, we were hoping that they wouldn't have to go through the whole process, and they've allowed some flexibility. And then we also want to do a thank you for the facilities grant that's going to allow us to expand the bioscience building and serve more students. And then we will have a request that we're hoping for some capital funds in order to expand the welding lab within Butler Tech, again, to serve more students, continually being our goal to expand offerings and serve more kids within Butler Tech and eliminate the wait list.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Schaefer? Hearing none, we'll move to D, Community Engagement Committee. Mrs. Casper.
We haven't had a meeting since the one we had in November, and we will be doing committee assignments at the org meeting, so hopefully when we get those committees assignments, we will continue scheduling community conversations.
CCAT team, Community Curriculum Advisory Team.
Yes, there was a meeting that was held on November 16th, and Lori Brown and Andrew Wheatley shared with the CCAT team the state of Ohio's curriculum adoption strategy and new requirements. And they also shared the Lakota's plan for the adoption of the ELA and math resources that are coming forward, the ELA from the governor's work, and then math was already on the books to be done this year. So they shared that as well. And then Krista Heidenreich and Sherry Simpson also shared that, excuse me, the 2023-24 professional development strategy and plan with the team. And then Andrew Wheatley also shared the process for developing a program of studies and also a draft of the 7 through 12 program of studies for initial feedback.
Very good. Community Diversity Council will be scheduled for January. We'll move to Facilities Committee. Would anyone like to report on that? Dr. Lawley, do you want to start us?
We had a Facilities Commission meeting, a Facilities Committee meeting, and talked some more about what we needed to be thinking about as far as what facilities needed what needed to happen with our facilities work in Lakota. We talked about the enrollment increases that we're seeing and the need for space for students to attend. We also talked a little bit about the repairs that are being done at West Freshman, and then the limited amount of funding that we have for some of the other repairs that may be needed throughout the district.
Anyone else? Comments? We'll move to Finance Committee. Mrs. Schaefer, Mr. Zink.
Our Finance Committee meeting for December has been canceled. We did that last month, and so we will work on scheduling those in January.
Legislative. Mrs. Casper, Dr. Lawley, Mr. Zink.
Just a couple of things to let you know that were passed by the House. House Bill 257, which is about virtual meetings for public bodies. That was passed on 11/29 and by the House. So now it's gone to the next level on that one. I'm not sure that includes this public body, but I thought that would be important for us to keep a watch on. And then expulsions for endangering health and safety of other students, House Bill 206. That was reported out as amended by the House Primary and Secondary Education. That's the 5th hearing that they've had for that on November 28th. So we can maybe expect some movement on that in the new year. And most of the other bills that are pending, there were just third hearings, fourth hearings, second hearings, moving things forward, nothing that was really voted on.
House Bill 187 has made it back out of the Senate, headed back to the House. They will be reviewing that tomorrow, I believe. It's looking at an expansion of the homestead exemptions, which would be good for our seniors and some people in our community with the property tax changes. However, there are some implications on 50% coming from school districts. So the sources that I have do not currently have the data to show the impact that that will have on us at this time. So still some unknowns there. We'll see what happens in the House, and then hopefully have more information to report.
Do we think that that bill will get out of the House before the end of the year? I mean, there's only two more days, I think, 2 more sessions.
I think they're planning to be done by the end of this week.
That's
And
what I thought.
my
Yeah, I believe
understanding
that's
is
the
they're
goal.
fast tracking that.
They're fast tracking that one.
They do
Yeah.
want to get that through. What I've heard from Representative Hall, in terms of 50% of it being paid for by the state, sorry, let me go back. The homestead exemptions and the increased cost of the homes to expand it from 35,000 to 65 or 70,000, 75,000 will be paid for half by the state and half by the windfall that school districts are expected to receive based on the increased valuation that's happening statewide. I don't know what the state will do or the House will do in conference committee with that, but right now that's what they're looking at. They also moved it from, the House original bill was a rolling 3-year average, and they moved it back to the 1-year average, which is where we find ourselves back to where we started on this entire issue. So those are things that could definitely impact Lakota's budget, and certainly a concern.
Yep.
In terms of where it finally ends up landing.
Yeah, I will keep everybody posted as I hear more.
Adam, do you think then, as your initial thoughts on that? I mean, already we're not keeping up with inflation even with the increased valuations. Do you think there's a chance we'll actually see a true decrease in our funding?
Some of the information that I've received references the districts that do not have a lot of new construction will probably see a bigger impact of that. One of the fortunate things for us is we are seeing a steady new construction coming to Lakota's district, so we're hopeful that that would offset some of that if that does more direct. But we still don't have that information at this time. So
they'll potentially be voting on this without knowing the full impact on individual districts?
I'm hopeful that they do. We just
Okay.
My sources just don't have that yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And every district is impacted differently, so.
Certainly.
Depending on where they are inside Florida and that kind of thing. Mr. Adi, did you have something?
Yes, I was going to ask Dr. Lolly. It's HB 257 has to do with virtual meetings. You're not sure if it includes school board, but are they trying to bring back virtual meetings for legislators, or when it passes, what does that mean? Sorry.
Well, what it says here is to authorize certain public bodies to meet virtually. So I'd actually have to pull out read that. So I will get that information to the board and see what the language is actually referring to in particular. But I have not heard that boards of education were included in that, but I'm hesitant to say that isn't the case.
Okay.
So I'll pull out the language and have that for you.
Thank you.
And what that would mean, I think they're trying to cover for some of the COVID type things where maybe a board member or a person that's on a committee that meets virtually has the right to vote and that sort of thing, or that they can hold their meetings without
Gotcha.
actually coming together. But let me pull the language to be exact on that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Anything else legislatively? We'll move to J, Safety Committee. Dr. Lawley, would you like to speak about that?
The Safety Committee met in executive session and just continued the conversation about what safety measures we have in place and future safety measures that we might want to consider. And really, that's about all that I can say about that meeting since it was in executive session.
Thank you. Board professional development or board work? I did want to say that the OSB Executive Committee met on December 5th, and the purpose was evaluation of our CEO and to set goals and objectives for the coming year. And I'd like to say I think Kathy McFarland has done a great job. She stepped in at a difficult time, and I respect her efforts, so grateful that she was willing to take that role on. We'll move to Treasurer's Recommendations Board. 7, A, the approval of board minutes, and B, approval of monthly financial reports. And those board minutes were for November 6th, November 20th, and October 16th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Thank you, Mr. D. Is there discussion? Hearing none, call the, I'm sorry. Go
I was
ahead.
just going to add that we did have an amendment to the minutes from the prior meeting. Ms. Bodie had referenced that I'd missed the professional development she attended back at the October minutes, so that's what that amendment was.
Thank you. And if there's nothing further, call the roll.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. D?
Yes.
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes. Board will move to superintendent recommendations, and we will take A through F. Approval of personnel items, a memorandum of understanding between the Lakota Local School District Board of Education and the Lakota Education Association, approval of the National Geographic curriculum purchase for $654,782, approval of field trips, approval of donations, and F is now approval of the program of studies. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Casper. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Is there discussion? Dr. Lawley, would you like to brief us on any of those?
The one that I would brief you on is the memorandum of understanding between the district and the LEA. That is for the Personalized Learning Academy. It is compensation for those teachers that are participating in that both this year and next year, because they're opening up their classrooms for visitation and continuing their learning. So it's an agreement between LEA and the district to make sure that they're fairly compensated for the extra work that they're doing to become those model classroom teachers. And then the National Geographic curriculum will be for students who are learning to speak English. It is a very specifically developed curriculum for language arts. So it is a tier 2 resource for our students who are considered either newcomers all the way through students that aren't quite proficient and still need a tier 2 intervention in grades K through 12.
Questions? Hearing none, I'm glad to see that we're doing the English language arts for our English as second language students. Yep. That's great. Hearing nothing else, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. D?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes. Board will move to closing comments. Mrs. Schaefer, would you kick us off?
We had so many great things to celebrate tonight with our students, and thank you for sharing. I mean, our Cyber Academy to be one of, I think you said 6 students, or there were 6 and 24, I'm not remembering which, to be recognized. That's quite, I don't think we sometimes fully appreciate what an amazing opportunity our kids have and how they're excelling at that. Same with Spark, the Pacemaker Award for 17 years. Again, I feel like we sometimes take it for granted that Spark is going to get those awards, not fully appreciating how amazing it is to continue with that track. Loved with the curriculum information tonight that we're expanding our College Credit Plus offerings. Sometimes when we use those acronyms, I'm not sure everyone realized that's what CCP is. It's College Credit Plus, where you can double dip and get high school and college credits simultaneously. So it's a win-win for our children. And I'm so thankful for that. Again, on a personal note, my daughter is graduating from college on Sunday, and I am so thankful for the opportunities she had in college to do what she wanted to do and what she cared about beyond her core major. She was able to do 2 minors, and I think that was largely because of all those credits she earned at Lakota through all these AP and College Credit Plus opportunities. So thank you to our entire curriculum department and everyone who's offered that. and again. In closing, just another, I don't know what the appropriate word is, but congratulations, not like for you, for Mrs. O'Connor to be able to have an amazing retirement from all of her service and leave knowing that she has made a difference for students at Lakota. And I look forward to success in whatever that next piece is for you and wherever you decide to go.
Thank you, Julie. Kelly?
Ditto on the kids. You know, that's always our favorite time when the students come and talk to us and tell us all the things that they're doing. And I love it when the early childhood kids come because they're so articulate for second graders and what they're doing. We've had a lot of activity the last couple of weeks, choir concerts, band concerts. I don't know if anybody watched our Lakota East and West bands on YouTube for the Hawaii parade, but we were all very, very proud. So there's been a lot going on, and we want to, I just always want to acknowledge all the hard work the first semester from our staff and our students and what they've done to get to this point in the year. This is like a flag moment. They're like, okay, we're halfway there. So we hope that everybody enjoys their holiday and everybody, students, teachers, get some well-deserved rest. And again, Mrs. O'Connor, good luck and thank you. I think I failed to mention that when in your 16 years, it hasn't always been roses and sunshine. So sticking in there and making the commitment that you did, good luck. And again, like Julie said, I'm anxious to see where you go from here.
Thank you. Watch for the book. Dr. Lawley?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the last word tonight.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no.
I'd like to just comment on the amount of donations that we received for this month's board agenda. A total for this board meeting was $26,705. That's an outstanding number of donations that come in from various groups and various people. And I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that it's appreciated. The total for year to date so far is $226,000, a little bit, well, over $226,000. So that's amazing for donations. I would also like to commend the choir directors and the band directors and the directors who are doing the musicals. We attended Ridge's Christmas Carol a week ago, Friday night, and Christmas concerts, or I should say holiday concerts, last week and this week, and another one on Friday night with East bands. They're all, it's just phenomenal, and it's really hard work by the students and dedication and commitment by their faculty and the staff across the district. And in addition to that, of course, the staff work just to get us to this point in the year. We've seen some great things occur between the time that August started, when school started, to today. And I'm sure that the rest of the year will be a great school year to finish out 23-24. I'll get the year right in a minute. And just once again, Mrs. O'Connor, thank you for everything you've done for the 16 years. Being a board member is not always the most pleasant of jobs. And depending on who your superintendent is, it might be more fun or less fun. So hopefully you found it okay with me. But I do appreciate your leadership and everything that you've done before I knew you and during the time I've known you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Libby. Adam?
Linda?
Adam, be careful what you say here, buddy. Careful where you go.
I hate to say this is the end because it seems like we still have 19 days left. And what I've learned at Lakota is you just never know what's going to happen next.
Could have a pandemic or something.
We have definitely went through some stuff in my first 16 months. We've went through 3 superintendents, 2 superintendent searches, 1 balanced budget with me. So I didn't have the track record that Miss Logan had.
Don't forget the award. You still got the award.
Still did get the award, yeah. But it's kind of bittersweet to think that I'm losing a board member, but I feel like I've gained a friend. And You even called and checked in on us while we were in labor. As my family grew over the past year, I think my time schedule changed a bit. Linda, you're more of a night person, and I've turned into more of a go to bed early, and now I'm a early morning person. So I had a little break in there to get my work done until you got up. But I definitely appreciate all the time we've spent together over the past year as we navigated a lot of these challenges and problem solved and troubleshot and probably hypothetically thought things to death in more ways than any of us could ever imagine. But I just want you to know that I appreciate what you've done and what you've done for Lakota. So thank you.
Okay. It's hard for me, but I have to try. Shout out to Master Adam Ago, who came out today to speak to us about what concerns him. Out of 17,500 students, he came out to address the board, brought out his concern, and I think it's something that we need to encourage. And I want to thank him for that. I also appreciate our heroes tonight and all the highlights. That is why we are here. I never knew this job was this difficult until I got in. And like I said before, Mr. Connor, I want to thank you so much because I don't know what I would have done if you were not one of the resources that I have and my president. I was your vice president. I know what we went through. There are a lot of things said out there, but I know it and I feel the pain that you went through. You've been a leader throughout this tough time. It was so difficult. People don't know. People have no idea what we had to go through. You were not only my president, you were also my prayer partner. Because there were times that I will call, I will text, even when it is late in the night, and share with you my fears and how I was scared I was going to drop out of this. And you said, Isaac, I don't think you're a quitter. You've encouraged me, and we have come this far. I want to see what you have next for this community, because you love this community so much. You love the students, you love the teachers, you love the entire community. And I believe that we're going to see more of you. I want to thank you and appreciate you for your service. 16 years is a long time. I'm trying to do 4, but you did 16 years. Thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah.
That might have been a miscalculation to let you go last, but I need more policy or something, right? Ditto on the comments about our kids, and I appreciate young Mr. Argo's sense of style, too. He came in with a very cool hat and told us he wasn't allowed to keep it on in the building, so he's absolutely been given good manners as well. So the awards for our kids, you know, we don't take those for granted, but it's always wonderful to hear that it happens again without us even really knowing that they're up for an award or whatever, and it's wonderful when it happens. I am so happy to be leaving knowing that we're making changes with our gifted program. I really feel that those are so important for our kids. And it was a service that we changed, and I really think this combination is going to provide some of those needs that maybe got missed when we retooled it before. So that is very exciting and great news. Also, the changes to bringing back expanded music and art and PE at the elementary level. I think our high school programs need that extra piece in the elementary programs in order to support them going forward. So that's great news as well. I want to wish everybody safe travels. I know we're doing lots of family stuff over the holidays and hope that goes well for everyone. Board, it's been a tough couple of years, but we kept it steady. Anybody need a Kleenex? Dr. Lawley and Mr. Zink, I am so happy that we're leaving you in charge. I am leaving you in charge. You have stepped up to the plate, both of you, through some very challenging times. And there are some things happening that I think are going to keep the district in a very healthy place, so thank you for that.
I'll always be proud of our students. With that, we're adjourned. Sally, do you want your cleanup?